Welcome to the Artist Work Ethic Podcast. I'm Mike Pelak. I'm an actor, screenwriter, and filmmaker who's always looking to maximize my time and potential as I work to break in. In this podcast, I talk to artists of all kinds who have seen success in their fields about their process, habits, and work ethic. Today on the show is Adrienne Acevedo Lovette. Adrienne is an award-winning director, actor, writer, and producer. She produced and assistant directed a coming-of-age drama called BROWNSVILLE BRED, which premiered at South by Southwest and won the Audience Award for Best Episodic Pilot. Adrienne currently has a feature film called I'm Okay, We're Okay that she wrote, directed, and stars in, and is currently on the festival circuit. As an actor, some of Adrienne's TV credits include Better Call Saul, Ray Donovan, Master of None, Mr. Robot, and Gotham. She's also known for her role in the film Sunlight Jr. opposite Naomi Watts. A couple quick things before we jump into the episode. I've talked in the past about myself working on breaking into screenwriting. Please check out blackoilfilms.com/screenwriting. There you can check out some of the screenplays I've written. I have the first 10 pages of each one uploaded, but feel free to email me at theartistsworkethicpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send you a full script if you're interested in reading. Last thing before we get into the episode, I would love anyone listening to subscribe, rate, and review the Artist's Work Ethic Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us put the show out there for more people to listen to. All right, Adrienne, thank you for coming on with me today.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
So you put out a lot of work, directing, writing, acting. When you started to work on a more professional level, how confident were you in yourself, and did you have a backup plan of any kind?
I wish I had a backup plan. I think some actors or some filmmakers do have a backup plan, but I've always loved it so much, and it's been in me for many, many years, and I started doing it at 3 years old and then professionally at 10. So it's just something that has been a part of who I am. Not the only thing about me, but, a big part of who I am. Obviously, I think every actor, director, filmmaker, writer, etc., has these waves of uncertainty and insecurity. And I definitely have had mine, especially in the beginning when, I'm a plus size Latina actress. And one of the biggest things that was told to me back in the day when someone like me was not seen on television that much or film was that I had to lose the weight. I had to look like J-Lo. I had to look like Selma Hayek. And these are beautiful women, talented women, but I was never that body type. The moment I hit puberty, I was a plus size person, and I've always been very active. I come from musical theater. I danced a lot. I played sports. My sister and I did almost exactly the same stuff, except she was skinny and I was the heavyset one. And, it's something that over time, there was a lot of self-love, self-acceptance moments, especially when you're being told, hey, you don't look right for this industry that you love. It wasn't until 2011 that, for me personally, that things started shifting. And then my self-confidence and me wanting to be in the TV and film industry, because I came from theater and was doing theater professionally for many, many years, it kind of opened its doors for me. And a wonderful agent took a chance on me and then started submitting me. And I booked my first film that I booked and was kind of the stamp of approval of I'm going in the right direction was a film called Sunlight Jr. with Naomi Watts, Matt Dillon, Norman Reedus. And I played opposite Naomi Watts. I was her friend, her coworker friend in the film. It was a supporting character. And it was my first gig as a film and TV actor coming from theater. And the director rewrote the character to fit me, which was amazing. And I had several callbacks. I was not what they were looking for originally, but I brought something different and it spoke to her. Kind of became a ripple effect after that.
growing up in the entertainment world, whether theater, what did you pull from other professionals around you in terms of work ethic and productivity and creativity, that you were able to kind of take in as you grew up in those worlds?
I was always surrounded by incredible artists in different ages, obviously. Just seeing their passion, their professionalism, how you show up to to the theater world specifically, like how to audition and how to show up and how to be prepared, and those kind of work ethics I did learn from my peers and my teachers and my acting teachers. I went to performing arts high school, and that was a huge benefit to my professionalism. I went to Dr. Phillips High School, and it's in Orlando, Florida. And I was, you're surrounded by the TV and movie world really in Orlando, because all theme parks are basically all about movies, right? And so I grew up doing that and going to theme parks. My mom worked at Disney, so we went to Disney all the time for free. And so I always was educated in TV, film, theater on a regular, and I loved it. And I still do, obviously. But I'm fortunate that I've had a lot of like-minded people in my world.
Is there something that, whether maybe it's a specific moment or something more generalized, something that you've done in your career that is like above and beyond, something that you've done to really set yourself apart from maybe, the actor to your left or right, that you don't see those other people do, that, you've kind of done, and it's just helped your career?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on, as an actor or as a filmmaker. And at one point in my career, specifically specifically in theater or in the TV and film world. In theater, I don't think there was anything specific that I was like, I'm going to do this. No one has done this. But because I've always looked different than a lot of other people and was a different size than a lot of other people, I would purposely audition with pieces that were definitely not what they would consider me the role for, but I would still do it, right? Like I would just still go in and be like, here's another interpretation with a different body type and someone that you just never thought would be a lead of something. And then in regards to my filmmaking, I think one of the things that have always made me a little bit different too was that I like creating my own work. So I've always been an actor before it became a thing, and before social media, I was always an actor that did create their own work and was always working on either plays or musicals or doing our own little cabarets or whatever the case may be. I didn't leave it up to the industry to decide whether I was going to be doing it or not. I was just like, I'm doing this. And I'm still like that, obviously. And I still have to be, because no matter what, yes, I've broken into to some capacity, but I'm still having to break barriers and prove that, someone that looks like me can be a lead in something, and that storyline does not have to revolve around the way I look. And that's something that is very important to me, and what I've done with my most recent feature film.
Think of like goal setting, long term, short term. I always talk about how I'm a huge list person. I'm like a nut with lists.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say, what's your method? What's your preferred method of organization to keep yourself focused, organized, balanced, thinking you've got films, you've got to stay fresh in your craft, you've got to worry about all the business stuff. How are you keeping that all focused in?
That's a good question. And a lot of people ask me that because I'm someone that always has my hands in a few projects at the same time. So this is what I personally do. And I think it's really important to kind of create some kind of routine that helps you as an actor, but as just a person and an individual.
Hey everyone, just wanted to take a quick second to tell you about a podcast called Mentors on the Mic with actress and host Michelle Simone Miller. Mentors on the Mic is your ultimate guide to navigating the entertainment industry. Enjoy exclusive interviews with incredible mentors, focusing on how they started, how they moved up, and get the inside scoop on all your favorite films and TV shows. Mentors including showrunner and co-creator of Friends, Marta Kauffman, series regular Melissa Nevia of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and the CEO of Samuel Goldwyn Films, Ben Feingold, and many more. Check out Mentors on the Mic podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Find mentorship without having to ask for it. And stick around after this episode to hear a clip of Michelle's interview with Marta Kauffman, showrunner and co-creator of Friends.
I'm just going to walk through my day real quick, but I wake up in the morning. I do the regular things. I make a point to make my bed. That sounds like a silly thing, but to me, it's like I've accomplished something right away in the morning. And it's also nice to come back to a bed that's like all made up and ready to go for the next day. So I do the normal, brush your teeth, whatever, get ready. I drink a glass of water. I have a morning journal that I write in. This was something that I got from The Artist's Way, which was introduced to me many, many, many years ago during school. But it was something that we've carried. My one of my filmmaking partners and best friend, John, we do this a lot together too. But I write in my morning pages, and I let myself kind of like dump my subconscious out and clear my head. And then I have my affirmations, and I would write affirmations of my goals, of things that I want to achieve and try to manifest them. And then from there, my schedule is, and then I have a meditation, by the way. I think it's important to meditate once a day. It doesn't have to be long, maybe like 10 minutes, because it does kind of ground you. It helps with our visualization. You're creating things as well, like you're creating things in your mind. So I do think that's important. And then from that, throughout my day, I schedule myself to where it's like, from this time to this time, I'm working on this project. From this time to this time, I'm working on this project. From this time to this time, and so on. And I cut myself off and I stop at a certain time of day, because if not, I can go on forever. And I think it's important to live a life, to be there for your family. I'm married, so I spend time with my husband. Oh, and part of my routine too, and I tell other actors this, that maybe can't afford to have classes or just, aren't working as much as they'd like to. I give myself an opportunity to act every day, whether it's just me reading a monologue and reading it in different ways and trying things for maybe like 10, 20 minutes, or for even asking a friend of yours, hey, do you want to just read sides together and just get that muscle going? I think it's very important to always kind of hone in on your craft, even if it's just like little spurts, but it puts that energy out, right? Like it puts the energy out that you're letting the universe know, well, you're ready to take in that work. I give myself days off, sometimes several days off purposely. I'm very connected to nature. I love nature. It kind of grounds me. I think it's important for your creativity to live life. I always say you have to live a life to portray one. So sometimes we can get very obsessive over what's the next project. I need to write. Why am I not writing right now? Like you start like being your worst enemy. And unfortunately it's part of our industry to be that way. But I think it's very important to give yourself time.
I love your point about acting every day. And I mean, it's just great. It's like part of that consistency and just like keeping that muscle strong, no matter what else you have going on. And I just think that's a great bit of advice for anyone who is pursuing acting. Is just, it doesn't have to be an audition, a class, or being on set. Just do it in the shower,
Right.
You could do it somewhere.
Well, I mean, as a singer too, and because I come from musical theater, as singers, that's what we do. We're singing in the morning, we're warming up, we're singing, we're doing our thing. And then at the end of the night, we're doing the exact same thing. We're warming up before we go to bed. And in between that, we probably take a class, or we're practicing a song, or, warming up that muscle you're singing. Because your voice, unfortunately, if you're not using it on a constant basis as a singer, you can start losing it. It's kind of insane. And so I kind of treat acting and being an artist the same way as I treat being a singer, and which is something I used to do quite often because of musical theater. To me, that logic kind of worked together.
Yeah, and your point about living your life too, I think as a screenwriter, nothing against, the 20-year-old screenwriter or whatever, but you just haven't maybe haven't lived as much. I don't want to sound like I'm, anything about different ages, but
No, but it's
you know,
understandable.
but
It's a different experience, right?
yeah,
Like
I mean, I
our
look at
our age range is different than them,
sure,
and
sure.
they've lived a different kind of life. And I think throughout your life, you're going to take things that they've never experienced yet, and it's going to come out in a more honest way on your script and your storytelling.
Yeah, I feel like looking back at everything I've written, it's always got a big chunk of me and some experience that I've had that I've bended and shaped in a different way and repackaged into a script. But like you said, it's very important to get out there and just live life and take in the world so that you can, reflect it back out with your perspective, I guess.
Right, right.
What's something in your work ethic or productivity related that you feel like you could improve on?
I think in my productivity, funny enough, I think the thing that I could improve on is more of not taking on so many projects. I think just mainly for my own self, I can get a little like, oh, I have so much happening, and I'm really good at multitasking, and I strive with that kind of like go, let's move, as whatever. But as I get older, I notice that it's something that, oh, I should say no to this project. I have too many things. Because before, when I was younger, I would, and it's not like I'm an old lady, but when I was, younger, maybe like 20s, I would take on a lot of things. And where now I look back and I'm like, oof, that's a lot. How did I do all those things at the same time? So I think as I get older, you kind of have to pay attention to yourself, and what helps you work effectively, but also, just not taking on too much that's going to damage your mental health.
Sure. How has just being super persistent impacted your career?
I mean, I would say it's impacted it quite a bit. I think, you're always bringing, if you keep going consistently, and it doesn't have to be in huge ways, it could be in small ways, but I think that energy, bringing that on, manifesting that, making your work known, putting it out there, putting yourself out there, whether it's making a short film, whether it's making, something on social media, you kind of have to put that energy out there, but it also creates a specific kind of work ethic that you need for the industry. It's just very hard. It's a tough industry. There's not one way you can get in. There's not one roadmap where you don't. We go to school for this and we leave and we're like, okay, what's next? Where like if you go to school to be a teacher, you leave and you know your next step, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's a whole different ball game, and being persistent is part of it, and showing that yes, you are the right person for the job, whether it's being the actor, the director, the writer, producer, sound mixer, etc.
Is there anything that you want to plug? I know you've got your film "I'm Okay, We're Okay" that's out doing festivals now, I think.
Yes, it's my the first feature film that I've directed. I've produced a few, and I've wrote and starred in and produced one many years ago called When I'm With You. But this is the first time that I direct it. I'm also acting it. It was a lot that I decided to take on, but it's a psychological drama. It's about this woman who's dealing with dissociative identity disorder, which is called multiple personality disorder. She and her boyfriend go on this road trip journey, kind of pioneered by her alters, to figure out what exactly happened to her in her past because she's blacked it out. And in order to kind of come to terms with it and start dealing with it, she has to remember it. So they kind of help her remember exactly what has happened to her. And we did a lot of research on this subject. I personally have known someone with it, and we also hired a psychiatrist who has patients with DID to go through the script with us to make sure that we were as accurate as possible. But it's still a fictional film. It's not a bio. It's not a movie about how to deal with DID, but it just happens that the character does have DID, and I play that character. I play about 6 different identities. It doesn't talk about me being plus size. It doesn't talk about me being Latina, even though that's part of it. And that's a big deal for me. That's something that we wanted to make a point on, is make a feature film, has an interesting storyline, interesting characters, and doesn't touch upon that. And here's a lead character who isn't this tall, thin person. And I think we've achieved it so far. We've had really great feedback from people that have seen it. We're going to be at the Chain Theater Film Festival in August, and CineQuest in August as well. And so you can find all of that on my Instagram. Yeah, that's one of many. I have another one called This Boy's Vida, Made in America, that we are submitting. It's a pilot based on true events. That's one I produced and directed, and it's lovely. It's coming of age story, ready to put that one out there as well. So we have quite a few things happening, other films as well.
Awesome. Well, Adrienne, thank you for coming on with me today.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please subscribe to the Artist Work Ethic podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and please rate and review the show. Follow us on Instagram at The Artist's Work Ethic, and check out theartistsworkethic.com.
When we were doing Friends, 2 of our cast members had other jobs. So we had to convince the networks to let them be in Friends, and then we'd figure it out if their other shows went or not.
Yeah.
That was something I remember we really had to fight for.
Got it.
And we were willing to go to bat for Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston. But generally, I mean, the network has opinions, and they give you your opinions, or the streaming service, or wherever you have. The opinions that we would get a fair bit are on those first lists you get of people. Like, here's a list of all the people who can play Robert, and here's the list of all the people who could play Saul. And the network will have an opinion on that list.
Got it.
So that we can prioritize who are we going to first. But generally, I have had the experience where people have, for the most part, been very respectful of our passion about our cast.
And so are you sort of deciding all of the roles, everything from co-stars to series regulars, or you kind of leave other people to do some of the smaller stuff?
No, I do all the small stuff. I do. I
think it's different for everyone.
Casting.
Good.
It's really important. So I am in every single casting session that I am awake for.